Welcome to the Weight Loss Podcast, where we offer solutions to the obstacles you face when it comes to achieving your health and fitness goals. As a married couple who's lost a combined weight of 100 kilograms and 11 clothes sizes, our raw, real, and relatable stories will show you the path you must walk to achieve and, more importantly, maintain the results you know you can reach. Because we know it works. So get ready to share the success and show the results with your hosts, Matt and Courtney.
Hello. Welcome to the Weight Loss Podcast. I'm Matt. That's Courtney.
Hello.
What's up?
It's so funny. Hello.
This is going to be a good one today. All right, so we're continuing part two of the Q&A. We had so many questions that we didn't get to in the last episode. We're going to attempt to get to them in this episode.
Yes.
So if you're new to the podcast, we end every season with the Q&A. We just open the floor to listeners and viewers and emailers who can literally ask us anything, and we take those questions without notice. So your mileage will vary on the quality of our answers. We will do our best. We just can't guarantee our best is very good, but hey, that's part of the fun.
Yes.
I will read, Courtney and I will answer, and we will just rip through.
Let's go.
All right. What are your thoughts on body composition scales? I know not to weigh myself, but was wondering if there is any benefit in tracking changes to muscle mass and body fat percentage. What do you think?
I've never used them.
Great. Okay, cool. Next question.
So I think you're better off. You've used them.
But you haven't used them, but why haven't you thought to use them though? That could actually be part of the answer here.
That's true.
Why haven't you thought to use them?
I haven't thought to use them just because it's not a metric that I would personally set any of my goals by, if that makes sense. So tracking muscle mass and body fat percentage, I mean, I can see the benefits of doing that. I just have never set any goals by those standards. So then if I'm not setting goals by those, then there hasn't been any reason for me to track them.
I think there can be benefit to tracking these markers if the outcome suits it. Like, for example, you might be an athlete who competes in a weight-restricted competition of some kind.
Well,
there can be merit in that.
We've known people that have competed in like figure competitions.
Are they weight-restricted though?
No, but I think that's when maybe something like body fat percentage and things like that do help with that.
Potentially.
Those sort of things, like if I was setting a goal based on what my body fat percentage was going to be, then maybe, yes, tracking it somehow would be good. But
for the average person, I would just say if you want to track these things, go for it. What I would say is, are the actual numbers of your muscle mass and body fat percentage, are they what you lose sleep over at night? Are they the things that cause you frustration and emotion about the way you look, the way you function, the way you feel? If so, go for it. If not, there are other ways to track muscle mass and body fat percentage without using the numbers, which is take progress photos and track what you're doing in the gym. Because if you're getting stronger in the gym and you're getting leaner in your progress photos, all right, good news for you.
yeah, I mean, it's not something I would go out of my way to seek out, but if there happened to be scales that I felt like doing it just as a bit of a, I'm curious.
Oh, for shits and giggles, it can be a fun thing to do, but I will say the actual body composition scales are not the most reliable. If you are going to go to the effort of getting this information, I would recommend either paying the money for a DEXA scan, or if you know someone who is incredibly good with calipers.
Yeah.
Yes, but however, the use of calipers is a real skill. So finding someone who has a lot of experience using calipers, you can do it that way as well.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
This is a good one for you. I work evening shifts on call, and sometimes I only get a few hours of sleep a night. Would it be better to skip a workout the next day or do a workout even if I can't give my all being so tired? Now, I say this is a good question for Courtney because for many years she used to work some pretty late nights in the wedding industry, handling drunk people,
Yeah.
getting loose at weddings,
Yeah.
family fights,
It happens.
people doing weird substances in the bathroom. Mate, the stories I got from this one on her wedding days. Woof.
It
Anyway,
happens.
now you used to work some pretty weird shifts.
Yes.
Well, weird as in long and late, because there were times after we met when you wouldn't be home till sometimes like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
So what do you do with this in terms of your workout routine? Did you skip?
Mine was a little bit different because I knew the days that those shifts were going to happen. So they would really be, because I worked in the functions, it was really, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So sometimes a Thursday, but generally speaking, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was able to work out my, especially my weight training days to be before the weekend. So they really didn't do a weight training day on the weekend specifically, so I didn't have to deal with that. But obviously I still had to work out some of those days. So mine was a little bit easier. I think it's probably a two-part question is whether you know those schedules. Like is this like a scheduled thing where you know those days are coming up and that you can sort of work out your training sessions around that?
Yes.
Or is it more unpredictable? Because if it's unpredictable, then you can't do anything about that.
Let's answer both. What would you do if you knew the schedule in advance?
If I personally knew the schedule in advance, I would try, if I could, to work out my weight training days so I didn't have to go and do a weight training session the day after one of those shifts. Because you're right, your energy is down. You aren't going to be lifting as well as you could be. Your progression with your weights isn't going to be as good as it could be.
Especially those shifts as well, you're on your feet a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to be fatigued.
Or like so fatigued. And I think mentally fatigued often too because of the sleep deprivation. And then it does open yourself up to not only not progressing with your weights the way that you possibly could, it can be potentially dangerous if you're not paying attention to your form and you get a little bit lazy or sloppy with your form because you're mentally checked out, and you can open yourself up to injury. So I would say if you can avoid it, do it. If your shifts are unpredictable, actually, sorry, just back on the first one, if you can predict it, avoid doing weight training. I would avoid doing weight training the day after a long shift or a short sleep that I knew was coming. And I would do either a low intense activity like a walk or something like that, or I would still do a short, hard cardio session just to get the blood flowing. Because again, those sort of things you don't need quite as much mental energy to do. If it was unpredictable, then I would still do it. So my advice would be to still go, because I think building the habit of going is more important. So if it's unpredictable and you weren't able to work out your weight training around that sort of shift, then and not going would mean missing the entire workout for that week, I would still go.
That's where I agree. If it's unpredictable, you're correct about it. If you can predict it, plan it.
Plan it.
Right.
But if it's unpredictable,
if you can't predict it, you got to be prepared to be flexible and adaptable. So in that situation, I would. One, if I know that I could reschedule the session and hit it, because I knew deep down I haven't got the juice for this, I would actually push it back. If pushing it back means I was going to miss it entirely, I would still go, because as Courtney said, the habit is big. Just the habit of showing up is a big deal, but it is a situational thing. I don't think it is as black and white an answer as I did a shift, I'm not going, or I did a shift, I am going. It just depends on, do I have the wiggle room to maybe move it back a day? Or potentially, depending on how my shifts are, can I go home and have a big ass sleep and then go after I get up?
It just involves a little bit more planning, but I would say that if you are going to miss it completely, I would still go.
I'd do something.
Build that habit of going, and then, yes, you're probably not going to be making any PBs that day. It's probably going to be a grind, but I would focus on technique I would focus on making sure that your form is good to avoid any injury.
As long as you can give your best.
And you just give your best. And if you have to put the weight down to do your best, then you do that and you accept it for what it is, and the win is going.
Yeah. I mean, step one of any successful weight loss or health journey is learning how to show up.
Yes.
That comes before anything else. Next question.
Yes.
Oh, this is a good one for me. You talk about not weighing yourself, that it doesn't matter. If you are making real change, you will see it. I agree. But why not get on the scales 2 to 3 times a week to measure progress? Can you expand on this? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Go.
Okay. You can get on the scales 2 to 3 times a week. The problem with 99.99% of people who live on the scales is they don't know how to put them in context. They look at it very simply and go, number up is bad, number down is good. But they don't look around what could be causing fluctuations. So you might have someone who has a couple of days of number down and it dictates their mood. Oh, well, this is great, this is working and I'm happy. And then they have a day where number is up and oh, fuck, the sky's falling, the zombies have risen, we're all going to die. But they don't look at the context of, well, okay, how did you sleep the night before?
Yeah.
Did you eat a meal yesterday that your body doesn't agree with is causing you to retain fluid? Have you done a particularly hard training session and you are inflamed? Are you a woman who's going through her period, or as Courtney likes to call it, whale week, and you are heavily retaining and you are bloated as hell? This is why I don't recommend for most people even to bother jumping on the scales, because when someone says to me like, oh, man, I lost like 2 kilos last week. My first thought is not, oh, you are the best. What are you doing? My first thought is 2 kilos of what? 2 kilos of water? Have you had some particularly good bowel movements that week? Is it 2 kilos of glycogen or carbohydrate stores in your muscles because you are depleted? Or is part of it fat and muscle because you're starving and restricting and depriving and not doing strength training? The number doesn't mean much, but it can also go the other way. You might be someone who has a meltdown because number has gone up, but you don't realize that when you started taking creatine, creatine works by drawing water into your muscle cells and you gain weight on the scales. You get heavier taking creatine, but you also get vastly stronger in the gym. But because you haven't got the context and the emotional maturity of how to look at the number on the scales, you'll go, oh, I'm gaining weight, I'm getting fat. Like, no, creatine's working, bro. It's doing its job. So for most people that don't have that maturity and don't have that ability to put the numbers in context, what happens is they jump on the scale, number goes up, they have a meltdown, and they then make bad decisions without looking at the context of it or what could be affecting it here. Or it could just be, sometimes it can be just random. The number has just gone up for reasons you can't explain, and then it goes back down.
You're also relying on a set of scales to work properly every time you step on them. There's so many factors. I just think that I agree with you, Matt, that the last thing there hits nail on the head for me. It's that why not jump on the scales 2 to 3 times per week to measure progress? I get that as a theory. Yeah, why not? You know, what's the harm done? But I think you need to stop and really realistically think about it and think to yourself, if I jump on the scales 2 to 3 times a week, what emotional toll will that have on me? What response am I going to have to that number?
Yeah.
And what habits am I going to then possibly fall back into when that emotional response is poor to that number? And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we're all emotional people. We all have some sort of form to get to a state usually that we're overweight. We all tend to have some sort of form of emotional eating habits somewhere along the line, whatever that case might be. It's not just, oh, I'm sad, I eat, but there's some sort of emotional response we have to food, right?
Yep.
And so we can't sit there and just think to ourselves that we will be able to jump on the scales 2 to 3 times per week, look at that number, and realistically be honest with ourselves and think that we're not going to have an emotional response at any time to that. And so to me, people will say, oh, we'll just learn how to deal with that emotional response, or just don't do it and don't have the emotional response because it's not needed. So remember, we're just only doing things and we're putting ourselves into a situation to potentially have an emotional response for an outcome that isn't required.
However, I like to be helpful as well. If you are someone that you feel that you do have emotional control over the number that comes up on the scales, for better or for worse, I'm going to share here what I recommend doing. If you are going to weigh yourself, here's how I'd do it. I'd weigh myself every single day at the same time of day. When you first get up in the morning, get up, go to the bathroom because you fasted.
I was going to say, make sure you fasted.
Same time of day, every day, literally every day. Then after 7 days, I would add up every single day and divide it by 7. There's my average. Then what I would do is I would do it again for the next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. And I would then compare the rolling averages. Week compared to week, compared to week, compared to week. Then you're starting to get an accurate trajectory here, because there are going to be day-to-day fluctuations, but if you level the playing field, same time of day, fasted conditions, every single day, rolling weekly average, in conjunction with how are my progress photos looking? How are my clothes fitting? Am I getting stronger in the gym? Am I sleeping better? Are my energy levels improving? That's where you can potentially put the number on the scales into context. But there's actually more work involved to do it how I would consider, maybe you'd say accurately. If you don't think you can handle the emotional maturity required to do that, don't waste your time. But if you do think you can, that's what I would do.
Great.
Cool. Next question.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on incorporating a fat burner and creatine into a daily routine? I've recently started adding weight training into my routine. Smart move. And both of these were recommended to me. Do you think adding supplements like these make a difference? I'll tell you something. If this was one person that recommended these supplements to you, they have, at the same time, recommended the single best supplement they could recommend and the single worst supplement they could recommend at the same time.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because one of these supplements has decades of research behind it and is literally probably the greatest sports supplement of all time. The other is a fat burner.
And new research being done on it as well, actually, in other areas. But
so, okay, the recommendation for creatine, hardest yes I've ever given. There is the only downside to creatine is if you are a serial weigher of yourself on the scales, creatine, as I said just earlier, will draw water into your muscle cells and you will get heavier on the scales.
Yeah.
People think that's a bug. It's actually a feature. That's how you know the creatine is working.
Yes.
So should I be taking creatine? Literally every single person alive, even if they didn't weight train, would benefit from creatine, because now, as Courtney's alluded to, there is more and more evidence coming out about the cognitive benefits of creatine. From a physical standpoint, it is a legal performance enhancer. It is cheap.
You only need a very small amount of it.
You don't need, depends on what you're taking it for and who's taking it. I take a bit when I cycle it.
Yes.
But it's super cheap. Right?
In a dosage, though, you take a small amount.
A teaspoon.
Yeah,
teaspoon.
Small amount.
So it's cheap. It's readily available. It has literal decades of research behind it. So, yes. Now, fat burner.
Not decades of research behind that.
I would say if you have deep down a desire to set money on fire, this is a great way to do it. Fat burners are a great way to set your money on fire and just completely waste it. If you want a low cost, highly nutritious fat burner, I got one for you. It's called vegetables.
Problem with fat burners is that you often don't 100% know what's in them. The entire industry is heavily
Unregulated.
that's the one. But so just from a health standpoint, in terms of what you are putting in your body, I'd be concerned about those because I wouldn't trust them. But there's no evidence to suggest that they actually give any benefit.
No, fat burners address a very, very small part of the picture, like really small. Save your money, and your fat burners should be strength training, regular movement,
great nutrition,
and lots of colourful, fibrous fruits and vegetables.
But if you want to cycle into creatine, then absolutely can. So, I don't think it's essential though. If you're not ready to do that, and if you're still building up the routine of exercise and good nutrition, I don't think it's essential to do right now if you're not ready for it. But it's definitely one that the research is out there that you could look up and how to incorporate that into
creatine is as close to essential as it gets, where it's like,
well, once you start on supplements,
like once you say yes, I would like to incorporate supplements. Where should I start? That's where you should start.
Yes.
That's where I started too. Funnily enough, was the first supplement I ever took, and
whey protein was where I started.
Whey protein, in my estimation, is. You've got like the best supplement of all time. Then just behind it is whey protein. Like genuine game changer. But yeah, creatine, like go for gold. Fat burner, save your money.
Yes.
How do you overcome temptations for snacking between meals? What you got?
Great question. I think for me, I tend to snack. So no, I like snack's probably not the right word, but I tend to just eat more regularly. So I don't have 3 meals a day. And I found that in the past when I tried to lose weight, that was a big problem for me, was the restriction. So I would try to stick to breakfast, lunch, dinner. And because I was starving in between breakfast and lunch, I would snack on just anything that was available. So now I spread out my food more regularly throughout the day. So technically I snack. No, snacking's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like I eat more regularly.
Yes.
So I fill in those time because I think there's too long of a time between breakfast and lunch to not eat. And there's too long of a time between lunch and dinner.
Especially when you're active as well. When you're active, you're going to elevate your metabolic rate. You are going to increase your hunger cues.
So usually within about 3 to 4 hours of me eating breakfast, I'm hungry. So if I get up early and I have breakfast at around, 6:30 before I start work or something like that, there's no way I can wait until lunch to eat. So I will be too hungry and I will definitely just reach for anything that's in the vicinity. So I think eating more regularly, making sure that once your metabolism is going up, you're eating more regularly and you're not depriving yourself of food, because that's when you will look to snack on anything. And when I say eat more regularly, I plan those meals. So it's not, again, I think snacking, to me, I always think of snacking as an unplanned meal.
Grazing,
as like something that you're hungry, you haven't planned to eat, so you're just going to grab anything. Now, I might be wrong. Might be not what you think snacking is, but that's just what I think of it as.
You got to answer the question.
I would say make sure that you plan your meals so you do eat more regularly. And I wouldn't think of it then as snacking. I don't consider my second meal of the day a snack between breakfast and lunch. I just think of it as meal 2 of the day. So, that's what I would say.
I do what Courtney does. That's how I avoid the temptation for snacking, because I eat food regularly that satiates me, so I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Until it's time to have my next meal.
You would even eat even more than I would. You eat, 6 times a day?
Oh, usually 5 to 6. Yeah. Usually 5 to 6, but given our size difference, I would hope I eat more than you.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a big meal. Like it could just be...
Well, it can often be the same amount of food, just spread out more over the day.
Yeah, but
Actually, for a lot of people, it should be.
my second meal of the day doesn't always have to be some sort of sit-down, hot-cooked meal.
Smoothie bowls.
It could be, protein, yogurt, fruit, all mixed together, something like that. Something that definitely has protein, definitely has some sort of fruit or vegetables in it. But the protein is going to keep you fuller, again, until your next meal.
All right, next one. Hello, Courtney and co-host.
That's fun.
Savage.
I like that.
I bet you do. My question is about upping my weights. I belong to the best gym where I live, but even then, they don't have much in the way of small plates and incremental dumbbells. It's usually a 5 to 10 pound jump. What would you recommend for increasing weight when there isn't an option to increase by 1 to 2 pounds at a time? Thanks again for everything you do. So unfortunately with dumbbells, this is also sadly a feature, not a bug.
Yes.
Where I'm going to talk now in kilograms, but kilograms are easily converted to pounds. So you have dumbbell sets. They will go up in increments of 1 kilo from 1 through to 10.
Yes.
Then once you get to 10, it goes like, 10, 12.5, 15, etc. Although the gym we go to goes up in increments of 2. It goes 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. But generally there's a larger jump.
Yes.
That's one of the few drawbacks that comes with dumbbells. It's just, unfortunately, it comes with the territory.
Yes.
That said, you can buy the Olympic dumbbells that we've had.
Right, you're right.
So you can buy Olympic dumbbells where you actually put plates on yourself and you can then start to manipulate the increments that you go up in. If we are using barbells and the jump feels like it's too big because, with most gyms that you join, the smallest plates they'll usually have will be like 1.25 kilogram plates. Google fractional weight plates. Buy yourself a set of fractional weight plates. Keep them in your gym bag at all times.
Do not leave them at the gym. Do not
leave them at the gym. They will go missing, but leave them in your gym bag. Take them with you for any exercise that you use that uses barbells.
They are tiny discs, tiny, very, very thin metal discs, so it won't take up much room in your gym bag, and they come in increments of 0.25.
Yes, so a set of incremental fractional weight plates, will be 0.25 of a kilo, 0.5, 0.75, and 1 kilo. Get those, they're a cheat code.
They are a cheat code definitely for your dumbbells. For your barbells.
But with the adjustable dumbbells, yes.
Adjustable dumbbells, yes, but I don't know if that's always as easy to take to the gym with you as the fractional plates are really easy, right?
It definitely isn't as easy, no.
Because, so if you don't have that ability to do your own, make your own dumbbells, I would say my advice I tend to do is I will just go up and do as many as I can. So if I'm not hitting my perfect range, I'd still rather do that than stay at the same weight and just keep hitting my range.
Or one other thing I actually do, if I get to the stage where the dumbbells I'm moving around with, I need assistance with them and I've got no ability to get the assistance, I'll actually on my program switch to a barbell version of the exercise.
Yeah, but I get the feeling on this question, it's more about jumping up the jump is too high.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's why I will sometimes switch to the barbell version of the exercise.
Yeah, because then you can adjust it better.
Yeah, so I can then adjust it with the fractional weights.
For the smaller weights.
Well, like for example, let's say dumbbell shoulder press. When you're not there to help me or the gym's empty, which is great, but the drawback is if I get to a certain weight,
you can't lift the weights on your own.
It actually becomes dangerous to try and swing them up, right?
Yes.
When I get to that stage in the program, I just switch the exercise to the barbell version.
Yeah.
So I can then go up in the smaller weights.
Yeah. And so if I was doing a dumbbell exercise and my rep range was 8 to 10 and I'm doing the 10 kilo dumbbells and I'm hitting 10, maybe 11 even. So but I'm hitting 10 comfortably. Then I think, well, I can go up, but I can only go up by 2 pounds, which is, for something like a shoulder press, a very big jump.
2 pounds or 2 kilos?
Well, she's talking about.
Okay.
We're talking about pounds.
Okay.
I can't remember who asked the question, but we are talking about pounds in this case, but kilos, pounds, whatever. I think I would just, in my program, I would tend to just make that jump. And if I don't hit the 8 to 10, I would do it just as best as I can. And then it's just my goal to hit the weight range. I will stay at that weight until I could hit 8 to 10, if that makes sense. But yes, or you switch to you switch to a barbell version of the same exercise, and then you can hopefully adjust it a little bit better with those fractional weights.
You definitely can with the fractional weights. They are incredible.
But, sometimes the machines are the same, right? The pin-loaded machines, because they're only going to go up in certain larger increments as well.
There's a solution for that.
Well, yes, if you can. Sometimes you can't. But if you can, so the pin-loaded machines are often the same. So if you have this same problem with pin-loaded machines, those little plates that are in the pin-loaded machines often go up by an increment of sometimes 5 pounds.
Keep going.
Or 5 kilos, I should say. 5 kilos, they tend to go up in increments, very, very large increments. So they can also be hard.
The biggest I've seen 7.5 kilo jumps from plate to plate.
Some machines now will actually come with a specifically designed plate that rests on top that is an incremental weight in between. So if you happen to come across one of those, fantastic, use it. It'll be an in-between weight. But if your machines, like our machines at our gym now, they don't have that incremental weight. However, the area where the weight plates go up and down on the pin, the stack, is completely open. So this would not work if that was caged in and closed up. Sometimes they are. But if it is completely open like ours is, Matt actually taught me this. Go over to the dumbbell rack with these small dumbbells. You can get a 1 kilo dumbbell and it will actually just rest and sit like long weight, like on top of the pin loaded stack. And that can be your little incremental
I do that all the time. All the time. I'll use 1, 2, sometimes 3 kilos worth of dumbbells to bridge the gap between the plates.
Yeah.
Works every time.
Yeah. But obviously you don't have that luxury if that area is caged in. Sometimes they are, so you can't rest anything on top of the stack. But as I said, in my opinion, I would prefer to still, if I'm comfortable at the weight, I'd rather still go up and be uncomfortable trying to have a goal of going up in weight than stay at the same comfortable weight week after week.
I think overall the take-home message here is do not be afraid to think a little bit outside the square.
Yes.
All right, next one.
Who asked that question?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, thank you for asking that question. Very good question, and I hope that answer helped.
I work in a busy maternity unit and work shifts. I do night shifts once or twice a fortnight. Night shifts are a real valley for me. I usually only get an hour or so sleep beforehand and after for that day. Rough. I also tend to snack on the food people bring in over the night, which is usually potato chips, pizza, and cake. And the next day, my zombie day, I crave fatty, carby foods. I try to resist, but I'm usually exhausted and have no time on the shift, so pick at things on the go. Any advice you could give to help me manage this better would be greatly appreciated. This is an environmental issue.
Yeah.
It's very easy to snack on the food that people bring in over the night when you haven't brought anything in yourself. So you go to a shift, you're tired, you're on the go, you're going to get hungry, you might have some stress. You are going to eat whatever is put in front of you. The pro move here is to have an intervention. The intervention is to prepare your own food ahead of time because you do night shifts once or twice a fortnight, which means you probably know when they're coming.
Yeah.
So you can prepare ahead and go, I'm going to take these foods or these meals with me and put them in the fridge because you are going to have a staff room. The staff room is going to have a fridge, probably a freezer as well. And you can put those to use. Change the environment as best as you can. That's all this is. This is purely an environmental issue. Yeah.
And I would say that when you're planning what to have for those to take with you to work, you can plan for the foods that don't need to be reheated, that you can just grab. Because the thing about potato chips and cake and other carby foods is often because they're sitting on the table, and they're easy to grab and go, because I can fully appreciate the fact that you don't have a lot of time on these shifts to just sit down and have a full meal reheated and be sitting down and eating with a knife and fork. It's not going to happen. So I would say when preparing what to take, you can still create nutritious foods that are going to help you, but make them that I used to do this when I worked in hospitality. I would make foods deliberately that I knew I didn't have to reheat, because I wasn't going to stand there in the microwave and wait. It doesn't seem like long, but I'm not going to wait, 3 to 5 minutes for something to reheat. I'm just going to grab it and I just want to start eating it quickly straight away. So pick foods that you know you can grab and go. Pick foods that you know you can, quote unquote, graze or snack on. Fruit.
I'd be going something substantial personally, something that you know is going to give you energy.
Something with protein is ideal. That is going to also fill you up and keep you fuller for longer.
But having something that you know doesn't need to be reheated is going to help a lot. So in a situation like this, I would figure out what foods and meals I could have that are just as good hot as they are cold, or vice versa.
I used to sometimes make these like little egg muffins.
Yeah, you did too. Yeah.
And I would gladly have those cold or hot, but, like little egg muffins where they were just like an egg mixture, and then you could put whatever you wanted inside. They were great for me. I used to love those as a bit of a grab and go food. But yeah, there's lots of different ones that you can have a research online and find. But I definitely agree with Matt. I think trying to take something of your own to make sure you've got something readily available, and to be really planning what that's going to be to make sure that you can easily eat it as quickly as possible.
Next question.
And that you're excited to eat, by the way. Always make sure that you're preparing food that you're excited to eat. Because when you look at the potato chips that are sitting on the bench, you're still not going to be tempted because you're so excited about the food that you've made for yourself.
Well said. Speaking of creatine, I tried creatine and it really made me retain water. Did you have that problem? What am I doing wrong? You're doing nothing wrong. You're taking creatine. That's how it works.
It does.
It's a feature, not a bug. So as I said before, part of how creatine works is it draws water into your muscle cells. That's how it works. So you're doing nothing wrong. It isn't a problem. Keep going.
I will just say make sure that you're checking how much you're taking at one time, because I know there's a lot of research out there. We mentioned it earlier that there's long time there's been research done for creatine in terms of building muscle. So there's a lot of research on there. The newer research on cognitive function is actually looks to be increasing the dosage per serving of creatine. So I would just make sure that you're looking at how much you're having and you're not having too much at one time.
What's too much?
Well, I'd say 5 grams for building muscle was a good dosage, whereas the last study that I looked at, I just saw a snippet of it. I didn't read the full study, but I saw the study explained where they were talking about 10 to 15 grams as a serving for cognitive function, which is...
How many serves per day?
Well, I didn't get that far into the study. All I'm saying is that it's not like protein powder where you're taking a big scoop of it. It's not supposed to be taken in large quantities at one time.
I take 25 grams of creatine on my creatine days, 5 teaspoon serves.
5? Really?
Yep.
Well, you'd be in the cognitive function.
You would know it. So, but anyway, yes, I take 5 teaspoons a day, spread out through the day. But I do have, to be fair, part of what we put our clients through, or our students actually through with the Weight Loss Podcast Academy, is learning how to really cycle creatine in an effective way. But anyway, in terms of the question that made me retain water, yep. Carry on. Next question.
You're going to start a client on it for the first time ever taking creatine. You wouldn't put them on 5 teaspoons a day.
What's the goal?
Well, just give an example.
Well, it depends on the goal, because the destination dictates the path. So if the goal was, I want to maximize performance and body composition improvements, they're on 5 teaspoons a day straight up.
And if it's for, hey, I'm a beginner, I've just started weight training.
If you're dipping,
I want him to lose weight.
If you're dipping your toes into it, you would go a teaspoon after every weight training session.
Okay. So there's a big difference, but yes.
If you want to really push the boat out to sea and increase your performance, the one that I do, the cycle I do, never misses.
Of it.
Never misses.
Do you find a difference between water retention between the 1 teaspoon to the 5?
I couldn't tell you.
No, it's like just from any, not personal for you, but has there been any feedback on that or nothing so far?
No, because 99 times I put a student on creatine as the full cycle.
Yeah, okay.
Because the goal dictates it.
Okay.
But if you're dipping your toes.
So there's a potential that regardless if you take 1 teaspoon or 5 in your cycling, the potential is that the water retention is going to be the same.
Potentially, but the thing is, when it comes to creatine, just taking it and just starting somewhere is fantastic. But if someone is very serious about it and is like, hey, I want to maximize my performance, maximize my athletic output and my improvements from this, we're taking it. We're loading up.
Yeah.
Because it never not works. It's the best. It's the best.
I haven't taken it for quite some time, full disclaimer. So that's why I don't have any personal anecdotes to give.
Are going to be changing that very soon.
Yes, we will be, but there's some other reasons why I wasn't taking it at the time.
Yes.
So now I will be taking it again. So maybe I will give personal anecdote feedback once I start taking it again.
You know what we should do? We should actually, you want to run an experiment? Let's take a 12-week program of yours, 6 weeks on the minimal dosing, the second 6 weeks on the maximal dosing.
Okay.
Do a head-to-head.
We'll do that and I'll get back to you.
And you can report your findings on this very podcast. Next question.
Suffice to say, just to answer that question, there is going to be water retention regardless.
What are your thoughts on plant-based nutrition/eating? Boy, do I have thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't eat dairy, so
much.
I am not plant-based in terms of my eating, but I do have plant-based protein powders because I do not have whey protein powder. However, I do eat meat, I do eat eggs, so I'm definitely not a plant-based eater. My thoughts are, if you are a plant-based eater already, great, because that's the way that you grew up or because that's just the personal beliefs that you hold, great, no problem. You can still get the nutrients that you need being a plant-based eater if you do it right. If you are saying, I want to be a plant-based eater because the vegan diet is trending and I think that's going to help me lose weight, I would say good luck.
I'd probably say you're a clown and you are about to fuck around and find out.
Yeah. So I think there's two different things. If that is from a moral standpoint, the way you want to live your life, great.
Yep, agree.
No problems here.
Totally agree.
No judgment.
Nope.
Respect that decision completely.
Yep.
And you can still make fantastic choices with your nutrition and get all the nutrients that you need if you make great choices. I would say, though, if you're looking at that lifestyle purely from a fat loss standpoint, then I wouldn't waste your time.
As someone who has been trained on coaching plant-based people, as someone who has coached many plant-based people, as someone who knows what's involved in eating plant-based, I will say this. And I'm going to answer this question as if it is being asked by someone who is serious that wants to really improve themselves, but do it via plant-based. There is more work involved in plant-based eating if you really want to get maximum benefits in terms of performance, body composition improvements, etc. There is more, what the word I use is strategery. So if I was going to go plant-based, I would know exactly how to do it. Here's what I would do. One, I would probably shit my pants a little bit because I know what work's involved to make this actually work properly. Because the thing with plant-based is, yes, if you're doing it from an ethical standpoint, I'm with you. Go for your life. You are still going to have to replace the nutrients, the minerals, the amino acids that you are not getting from animal products. That's where the strategery comes in. So the strategery comes in, thankfully these days, plant-based protein supplements are getting really, really good. Really good. I would be supplementing with high-quality plant-based protein, and I would also be very mindful of getting just as many different nutritional sources as I can.
Yes.
Because where I see, and I use the phrase faux vegans, where I've seen faux vegans, the absolute just fake ass clowns, where they do this sort of shit for the trends, and literally all they are doing is they're still eating the same shit foods. They're just not putting ham on their pizza, but they're still having pizza. They're still having garbage ass ice cream. It just says vegan on the front, and you look at the nutritional label, and it is still hot garbage. People like that, they're living in a different reality. But for those who are serious, yes, you can make this work. Yes, I've seen this work. Yes, I could make this work. You just have to be prepared to just be a little bit more strategic and deliberate with your choices.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts.
Good.
What are the best ways to increase your metabolism? And the opposite, what habits slow your metabolism? And how big a difference does metabolism make in terms of weight loss? I think you have touched on some of these factors before, but a comprehensive list / discussion would be great. So, best ways to increase your metabolism. 1, strength training. 2, frequent eating of nutritious, colourful, healthy foods. 3, good sleep. 4, move your body regularly. 5, repeat. What are the habits that slow your metabolism? Not doing those things I just said. So, not strength training.
Not being active at all.
Or not being active, or being just a cardio bunny.
Yeah.
In conjunction with depriving and starving and restricting and cutting your food intake. Anything that involves getting stronger and building muscle tissue is the number one way to increase your metabolism. Anything that takes away from strength building, from muscle building, is the number one way to slow it. Like, you can really simplify it as much as that. How big a difference does metabolism make in terms of weight loss? It is, if a house is built on a foundation, your weight loss is built on your metabolism. It's as simple as that. It really is. Yep. If someone is unhealthy / overweight on the outside, that is a reflection of what's happening inside. I know there are some people out there, and there's less of them now, thanks to weight loss drugs, that would say, oh, well, you can be overweight and be healthy. Well, if you were healthy, you wouldn't be overweight. Let's just call a spade a spade. Right? The outside is a reflection of the inside, which is why we tell our students constantly, we are going to help you address what's going on below the surface internally. As a byproduct of that, the exterior, the things you want to see, the photos, the reflection, what you look like in your clothes, they are going to fix themselves as a byproduct. What do you think?
Yep, makes sense.
The word here was comprehensive. Have I been comprehensive? I've tried to keep it simple because the actual human metabolism is incredibly complex, billions of chemical reactions that occur every minute of every day. But to simplify it for the average person, I've attempted to do that just now. How'd I go?
I think you simplified it well.
You want to have a crack or just move on?
No, I don't have anything else to add to that.
All right. We can add to this one. How should I spread out weightlifting sessions and cardio sessions over my week? Say I want to jog 2 to 3 times per week and lift weights 2 to 3 times per week. Which days should I do what to best allow for recovery? Tremendous question. Before I hand over to Courtney, I will give one golden rule here. Do not jog around your leg day. Keep those things apart. What do you got?
I would definitely agree with that. Absolutely. Separate that. Lift.
All right. You want to?
I think that you're better off answering this, but I think if you say you want to lift 2 to 3 times per week and you want to jog 2 to 3 times per week, I would prioritize the lifting of the weights first. unless for some reason you're training for a marathon, which I don't think you are since you've mentioned jogging, not running. So I'd say that that's just a goal. So that's fine to incorporate that. But I would lock in your weights first, personally, and I would make a decision about whether it's going to be 2 or 3. And then I would schedule in your active movement around your weight training.
Leg day Monday, push day Wednesday, pull day Friday, 2 to 3 jogging days. I would then probably start with just Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe avoid Tuesday if you're going to do leg day on Monday.
Yep, Thursday and Saturday, and then assess from there. Yep,
Yeah.
start with that. Yep.
3 weights, 2 jogging.
Assess
How you're feeling.
Go from
maybe
there.
a walk on Tuesday, not a jog, just to stretch out the legs after leg day.
I would have Sunday and Tuesday as power walk days.
Walk days, yeah.
Yep. And I will jog on the Thursday and the Saturday, so then I am away from my leg day.
Yeah, great.
And I've also split my weights days up through the week to be a day in between each one and then 2 days over the weekend. I should do this for a living. Next one.
Yeah.
We all know smoking is bad in so many ways, but it would be good to see impacts of giving up smoking during a weight loss journey and tips to avoid derailing progress. All right. Disclaimer, I've never smoked.
No.
I've been around people that have given up smoking, and what I have seen, and this is anecdotal observations, is that giving up smoking will increase your appetite.
Mm.
Most people will then just go and eat a lot of junk food as a result. If I was working with someone who was giving up smoking through this process, I would say to them, be prepared for a spike in your appetite. It's not a bad thing. Again, it's a feature, not a bug.
We had clients that used to come to our gym that quit smoking.
We did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say be prepared for a spike in your appetite. That's how it works. When those appetite increases hit, we are going to be going for colourful, fibrous, nutritious fruits, vegetables, lean meat, because where I see a lot of people that give up smoking will just turn to junk food.
Is nicotine an actual appetite suppressant, or is it the action that people use instead of eating?
That I can't answer.
Yeah.
But the overall end result is that.
Because I knew that was a thing. So one of my closest friends is a smoker, and I've worked with people that were smokers, especially when I worked in the hospitality industry. And I often found, especially in them, they would go out on their food breaks and they would eat. They would rarely eat a lot. They would just have a couple of cigarettes during that time, and maybe a coffee or something like that. And I always wondered whether it was just the action that was making them forget to eat, or it was the actual chemicals in the nicotine that was acting as an appetite suppressant. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I haven't done too much study into smoking because it was a lot bigger when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah.
But that's because my parents used to smoke and I was around them all the time, and then they gave up. They actually, both of them went cold turkey together.
Oh, really?
But they also gained a lot of weight afterwards because they started eating more food too. Do I know if it's the act of smoking or the nicotine? I'm sure it's not hard to look that up.
Yes, you could look that up.
We could Google that. Just be prepared for a jump in your appetite.
Yeah.
And that's fine because you will then be able to have the opportunity to get more good food into your body, which will then increase the quality of your training sessions because you have more energy. One thing I will say is your cardiovascular function will improve as your lung capacity improves. Cool.
AI says yes.
Says yes what?
It's nicotine is a known appetite suppressant.
There you go. Thank you, AI. So it is the nicotine, not the act.
Reduces hunger and... Yeah.
There you are. So you know what? We should bring on to the market to combat Ozempic and whatnot. Let's sell cigarettes.
Which is often why smokers often weigh less and gain weight once they quit smoking.
Yep. Cool. Next one.
Yes.
What about when we hit that psychological barrier when we are months into our journey and think we're going backwards while physically going forward, and ways to combat this? How do you combat those mind games? How can we double down the efforts without hurting what we've achieved so far? I hope I've explained this well enough. You have indeed explained this well enough. Thank you. This is a classic example of what happens, when the honeymoon period ends, right? Because when the honeymoon period ends and all of a sudden it's just like this now becomes work, which is what it always was, the grind, and you're into the dog days where it's just get up, go to the gym, cook my food, drink my water, sleep, repeat, and it's just the fun's gone because the novelty is worn off. However, the second thing is what this is. A big part of the change here, whether it's weight loss, health improvements, changing your body shape, changing your habits, all of that, the whole thing is an identity shift. It's about there's another way to put this, you are killing off the version of you that you don't want to be. And that version of you is going to try and hold on. It wants to maintain some sort of slice of relevance.
That's such a good way to put it.
Right?
Yeah.
And it will try to hold on.
Yeah.
How will it try to hold on? Well, it'll tell you things like, hey, this is not working.
Not working anyway.
It's not working.
Yeah.
Just stop. Oh,
putting all this effort in.
You made a mistake. It's fucked.
Yeah.
Just give it all
Start
up.
again.
Come back next Monday, next week, next year.
One bite won't hurt.
Or it'll say, oh, you're fucking it up. You're fucking it up. This is, and I tell students this is the version of you that you're in the process of burying, trying really hard to hold on. You are allowed to still have that voice in the back of your head because it will persist, unfortunately. You are also allowed to tell it to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because those doubts, believe me, no matter how advanced you get, they'll continue. There's that old version of you that you are moving away from that's going to do everything it can to pull you back.
It's like those cartoon quit smoking ads where they little...
On the shoulders.
The little, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's what, to me, that's what this is.
I completely agree with that analogy. Yes.
Would you say 100%?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Do you want to add anything or do we just roll straight on?
I don't think there's much to add there. I think the analogy you gave is great. It is going to try to hold on to you and it is going to your mind will play mind games with yourself. I think the key is also in the question, which is you know that you're making progress. So physically you are going forward. So I think that's why also goal setting, progress photos, make sure you're celebrating the little wins. All of those things are really important because they're going to try to counteract those negative voices in your time of need. And you're not always going to know when those voices are going to pop up. The mind isn't silly. It's usually going to pop up when you're feeling the most vulnerable. Making sure that you have something or someone you can turn to talk it out with. Make sure you've got either a support system or a confidant or a coach that you can turn to and say, hey, I'm really struggling at the moment. I just need a little bit of reassurance. Or you've got your really clear goals set out, or you've got your really clear progress photos set there so they're easy reach to look at and you can remind yourself in those times what the progress is that you've made. Again, always make sure you're celebrating those small wins so they're front of mind when these things pop up as well.
Well said. Very, very well said. I think what will happen is once the gloss of something new wears off and the excitement goes away, in terms of doubling down, you focus on the process. What are the things I'm improving at here? Am I now eating breakfast? Am I getting more/better sleep? Am I getting stronger in the gym? Am I getting consistent with my workouts? And this is the thing is, I know how boring it is to hear me say words like that because the process isn't fun.
No.
But doubling down on that is how you can tell that despite that voice in the back of your head trying to take you back to where you used to be, focusing on the process and the things you're doing well is how you can tell what your trajectory is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for me, if I'm looking at one of our students, right, and I'm assessing how well they're going, the photos are the last thing I look at. I'll look at how are they going in relation to the process. Are they building consistency? Are they getting stronger? Are they making steps on the inner work? Their mindset, their relationship with food, with themselves, with exercise, how they handle stressful situations. That's how I tell, is the arrow pointing up or is the arrow pointing down?
And don't be afraid, as I mentioned, to reach out and just ask someone you trust for that reassurance, because sometimes that's what you need. And it's not weak to want that every so often. You just want that reassurance that you're doing the right thing and that you're heading in the right direction.
There's no weakness in being open and asking for help. That's actually become the strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, last question for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And last question for the season 13.
Nice.
How do you stop stopping? How do you stop the stop, start again habit? Going great for a few weeks and then stopping for a week or 3 and starting again. I have an idea here.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck do you keep stopping?
Yeah.
Because a problem well stated is a problem half solved.
Mm.
Right. We need to figure out what is the actual full problem here. Why do you keep stopping? Is it your expectations are terrible and you think it should be happening faster, like you're some entitled fucking baby? Is it that you fold up like a packet of wet tissues when something gets hard?
Yeah.
Because this could be expectations. You go into something expecting that, oh, well, this should be easy and I need to make no mistakes doing this. And then the moment something goes off what you expected, you just fall apart. Or do you start to get complacent? Oh, I'm hitting my gym sessions. Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Oh, someone told me that I look like I'm losing weight. And you start to feel yourself a bit. And your standards start to
slip. Just
dip a little bit. We need to figure out, why do you continue to stop? Once we know what those trigger or those triggers are, then you can go about correcting them.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yeah, the other one that I always remember someone asking me when we had our gym and we were going on holidays to America at one of our trips, and I think it was the second trip, we went over there and someone said, oh, are you going to take a break while you're over there? And I was like, a break from what? From what? And she was like, from everything. And I was like, no. No. And I said, and I remember having this conversation with her about it, because she is the way she'd just always framed in her mind that when she went on holidays, she stopped. She stopped her normal food routine. She stopped her normal exercise routine. She stopped everything. It was like literally a holiday from everything. And I remember discussing at the time that's like, to me, that was really dangerous, because it opened yourself up to things like this, right? I said, I've worked so hard to build up certain habits. The last thing I'm going to do is go away and deliberately go back to what I was doing before.
That's a good point.
Yes, it's not going to be perfect. Yes, it's not going to be exactly the same, because I'm not at home and I'm not going to be cooking all of my own food and I'm not at my normal gym and you're traveling. So, of course, it's not going to be the same. But I'm not deliberately going over there to stop either. So you're going to just plan differently, and I'm going to make as best choices as I can, and I'm still going to work out. It's just going to look a little bit different. But there was no mental, oh, I'm on holidays, I'm going to stop. So that's the other one that I always think of with this as well, that just to add to the list that you already said, Matt, it's like, are you stopping because you're going away for the week or something comes up for the week? So you say, oh, I'm just going to take this week off.
Work trip, yeah.
Yeah. And to me, that is one of those reasons as well. It's like, why are you doing that as well?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think obviously you and I like holidays.
Yeah.
We are big fans.
We haven't had many lately, but
we do like them. We're big fans of holidays. I think just because you go on a holiday does not mean your habits need to go on a holiday, because your habits taking a holiday is how you break them.
Yeah.
So that question to me, my first thought is like, okay, do you view this as a diet?
Yeah, it's those
is this not sustainable for you?
Well, we're always trying to teach this is a lifestyle change, right? So why would I stop my lifestyle just because I'm going away, or
It's actually, I'll tell you what, a question like that's good, because it also puts, for people like us, it puts our own self-leadership under the microscope. Great question. Anyway, that's that. Why do you keep stopping? Figure that out, and then you can figure out the problem from there.
Yeah.
Or the solution, I should say.
Well, it's a habit loop, right? If we talk
It's a
about,
habit, yeah.
I think we spoke in our previous episode about the habit loop.
did.
That explained the
Yeah.
habit loop. So we won't explain it again. Listen to that one if you want to know about it or if you haven't heard about the habit loop.
Yeah, what's the cue?
If you're saying the stop-start is a habit, which I suspect obviously is from the description of the question, I would say you've got to look at the cue before you look at the solution. So figure out the reason why the stop-start is happening and then work on creating a new habit loop.
Cool. We're done. Put it up here. That's the end of season 13. Thank you for joining us. If you feel that you would do well with education, support, guidance from, people like us, we do have the Weight Loss Podcast Academy. There are details for that in the episode description, though I will say, full disclaimer, it is not for everyone. If you aren't ready for doing this the right way and for learning, the Academy is going to find you out real quick. But if you are in that sort of frame of mind where it's like, right, I don't care what it involves, I want to learn, I want to build skills, I want to build habits that last, and I understand that this is going to take time and it's not going to be easy and I am going to make mistakes, this might be very helpful for you. So details in the episode description. Other than that, we are done for this season. So there will be more. If you're listening to us on Spotify, there's more episodes coming audio only. If you are watching us on YouTube, there are more videos coming in the future. But in terms of brand new podcast episodes, we're going to take a bit of a break, go do some reconfiguring of the studio.
We'll have a new studio.
There's a new studio coming, so the next time you see us in a format like this, things might look a bit different. Things might look a bit different.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us for this season. Hopefully you've got a lot out of it. If not, blame Courtney. And we're done. It is what it is. Thank you. Well done, partner. Very well done. You absolutely smashed it.
Partner. All right. Now it's just getting too loose.
We're done. We're getting loose.
Yeah, we're going. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Are you ready to share your success? Head over to our website for full access to our show notes, resources based on today's topic, and links to our Facebook group so you can share your story with our hosts and many others out there who are looking to achieve and maintain their health and fitness goals. You can find all that and more exclusively at theweightlosspodcast.com.